Hey, this is Tony Cook, and look at this beast. And I'm not talking about either of us. I'm talking about this amazing I almost is that an AI generated thing? First of all, Curtis Koch from Broadway Limited Imports. Sorry for calling you a beast if you took that, but I probably was talking about myself. But
The
wow,
S1's the star of the show, Tony. It's the star of the show
wow.
today.
This
Isn't
thing
that
this
awesome?
thing is amazing. These are early
Yeah,
renderings. I don't think I mean, your Steam always generates information or emails and asking for more information, and I've shared a couple with you already that I got in the last couple weeks on it. But
yeah.
wow, this has been a holy smokes.
This has been
So
a long time coming.
tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is the Pennsylvania Railroad S1. It is the 6446 duplex locomotive built by the Pennsylvania Railroad in their Altoona shops. It later made its first appearance at the New York World's Fair in 1939, and it served on passenger duty between Chicago and Ohio throughout most of its life because you can just look at the size of it, Tony. It's too big to fit on any turntable.
Yeah,
So they needed the space to Y it, and because of its size, they couldn't run it over a lot of the Pennsylvania Railroad trackage. So it ultimately stayed in the Midwest area. And these are some early 3D renders of the model. So there are still details and stuff subject to change, but you get a good idea of what the prototype looked like and how we're bringing that to the market. And the sheer size of it is just enormous. So if you look at it and you think, wow, that looks like a big locomotive that's bigger than the big boy, it is. It's going to
oh,
be
really?
big.
Wow, wow.
We've dubbed it around the office as the big one, um, because of its size and everything like that. So it's going to be a fun locomotive to bring to market. This has been the most heavily requested locomotive, not only just from Pennsylvania railroad modelers, but from other collectors and stuff in general, because there's never been a brass one brought to market in terms of recently. There's
Mhm.
been brass models made previously, but this locomotive hasn't been done in a while, and we're really excited for it. Lots of great details there. And the best part is that we have found a way to, in theory so far, get it to navigate 18-inch radius curves. So if you have tighter curves on your layout, the minimum radius there, you should be able to use it and run it on your layout. And
Wow.
that being the middle driver, so drivers 2 and 3. So the second driver on the first set of drivers and the first driver on the second set of drivers. Both of those will be blind drivers.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
those will be how you can navigate the tighter curves. But if you want to have it still prototypically accurate, we are going to include 2 spare drive wheels in the box when the model arrives, so you can go ahead and swap those out if you'd wish to choose and have a more accurate rendition of the locomotive. And a lot of people have been looking at this and they think that it's going to be, well over, $900 or $1,000. Well, good news is that it's not going to be that. The MSRP for the sound version of this locomotive will be $799.99,
Oh,
and
wow.
you can get that from your dealer, typically for 20% off, so about $680 for this locomotive.
Not
We've got
bad.
four different versions.
And it is a brass hybrid, as you mentioned too. I know
Correct.
that was I've seen some buzz on that of I was wondering if it's gonna be die cast or what it was gonna be, but yes, it'll be a brass hybrid release.
Yeah, a brass hybrid release. Not only is it just cheaper for tooling costs for the brass hybrid series, it's also, in terms of details, we're able to make it more accurate proportionally and stuff by doing it in a brass hybrid versus a die cast model. And the yes, the price is more than what a die cast model would be, but with this being a big locomotive and wanting to get it done right, brass hybrid is the way to go for these models.
Mm.
And we're also having them in stealth too. So if you want to get the stealth model, the stealth version price will be $699.99. And again, you'll get that from your dealer for about 20% off, typically. So you'll be able to get that at a more affordable price for you. And we have 4 different versions. We've got the American Railroads there. That's how it appeared at the 1939 World's Fair in New York.
Ah,
We've got the in-service Pennsylvania Railroad one, with Pennsylvania Railroad marking on the side. And then we've also got the Tuscan Red Fantasy Scheme and then the unlettered there, as you see too. So 4 different versions for customers to choose from. There's the Tuscan red one.
Ah,
So there's a lot of different variations for you to choose from and get your hands on one of these big S1 models for your railroad.
what an amazing beast. I love the front porch. I mean, there's a
I know, right?
front porch puts an SD40-2 to shame. And I
Yeah,
noticed it has a horn up
it
front
does have
too.
a
So
horn.
yeah, wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
And some people have been asking us when we released this in the Broadway flyer, will we have, because the S1 did have some stanchions or the little signage on the front of the pilot, usually with the nameplate of whatever train it was hauling that day, whether it be, the Broadway Limited, the Trailblazer, what have you. We are not going to do that on this model, but we are considering that for future versions of this run of locomotives if they sell well in this first run. So if you want to see that in the future, just place an order for this first one to give us an idea of how you want that into the second one. Because I know a lot of people have been asking about particular train names that the S1 pulled, and there was a lot of them. So there's a lot of different variations you could add to that in the future. But for now, we're just doing these 4 just to get a feel for how people react to it. And so far, the reaction has been very, very positive, very excited. Like I said, it's been heavily requested from a lot of people for years now. And we actually had this design several years ago, but we went back and redid it because the way that we had it originally designed, it couldn't navigate below 26-inch radius curves, and we felt that that was a kind of a big deal for some people who wanted to have this locomotive, but they couldn't get it to fit on their railroad. So we redesigned it all from the ground up, new brass tooling. There will be some plastic parts just for accessibility to get it onto the model and make it accurate and everything. But yeah, these models are going to be awesome, and we think customers are going to really, really enjoy this when it comes out.
It's just incredible. This will be Paragon. It's HO scale, by the way. I'm sure
Yeah,
we've said that, but HO scale, Paragon 4, DCC sound, Rolling Thunder compatible. How about smoke?
smoke. Yep,
Okay,
every single feature that you could think of, we've put into it.
got it
So
in
the
there.
class
Awesome.
lights will be lit, and amongst other things too. And like I said, there will be the extra drivers. So if you wanted to have it be more prototypical instead of the blind drivers in the middle, you can do that as well. But yeah, these will be awesome, awesome locomotives, and we've collaborated with the Pennsylvania Railroad Technical and Historical Society on these locomotives, so they helped with some of the designs and some of the input for that. So they'll be also contributing in many other ways too, in terms of how they think the locomotive sounded. Because it's hard to reproduce a model that doesn't exist anymore
Yeah.
to get the sounds and stuff from, but we do our best.
Wow.
But nonetheless, these will be definitely on everybody's radar to get an order in. And the order deadline will
Unbelievable.
be in November
Okay.
with a arrival date scheduled for the fall of 2025.
Okay, so deadline's coming up in November, so you got time to check these out, order them from your favorite dealer, and then a delivery date fall of 2025. So a little more than a year away on this Pennsy S1 coming to HO scale. Uh, Unbelievable. And yeah, I think I'm gonna need a bigger cover for Model Railroad News for this. Yeah, wow.
Put it on a
I'm gonna ha
billboard.
I'm gonna have to start thinking about how to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. Curtis, thanks so much for your time today. This Pennsy S1 is definitely a dream type. Wouldn't that be wild if somebody and of course, when you think that, at Broadway Limited a lot of times when it comes to steam like this, yeah, they did. There it is. So really exciting. BroadwayLimited.com or check out with your favorite hobby dealer for more information on this. Curtis, thanks for your time today, and we will anticipate this to add to our steam collection. Thank you.
Tony, thanks for having me. We'll talk to you soon.